All right, I know why you're all here. She is a world-renowned dermatologist, an entrepreneur, an adjunct clinical professor at Stanford University, a national best-selling author, a mother, a philanthropist. I don't know how she has time for all this, but most importantly, she is a Florida Gator. Everybody, help me give a roar of University of Florida welcome to Dr. Fields.
Thank you.
Who's gonna mic this guy? Cool. Do you want to click it?
Yeah, okay. It's great to be a Florida Gator. Hi, I am a Florida Gator. I graduated in '79, and I have a little story from last night's long plane ride. Standing in San Francisco, an inbound flight. My flight was from Chicago coming to San Francisco, 2 hours delayed. And we're lined up ready to get on the plane, and we see the Chicago passengers get off. And while I'm talking on the phone to my partner, Katie Rodan, who's my buddy, best friend, business partner, I see a woman wobble off and fall over. And I'm looking around, nobody made a move. I said, Katie, gotta go. Ran up, laid her down, got her legs up, took a pulse, got her stable. The poor United rep was sweating more than she was. And once she was okay, I got her water, gave her my Kind bar, perfect, because it's either blood pressure or her sugar. And she stabilized over time. And the EMTs came 20 minutes later. I held up the plane. People were not happy with me, but she's okay. And her name is Coral. And it's a wonderful feeling. And that's why you're sitting here, because you want to help people. You want to be in a position where you can help someone in need, anytime, anywhere. I didn't tell her I was a dermatologist, but I did ask if she was pregnant, because I was in obstetrics first. That brought her pulse back, by the way. So on that note, let's even go to my first slide. There it is. Nope, go back one. Let's talk about higher purpose for a minute. I'm here because Zachary Field called me. And I'm Kathy Fields, and my nephew is Zachary Fields. And somehow he squeaked into my Rolodex, and he said, would you like to come to the University of Florida and give a keynote? And I got angry. I said, no, I didn't get into that school. They didn't let me into this program. In fact, they were really not great to me here at the University of Florida. Forget it. That was the end of that. But it lived in my DNA for 2 weeks. And I said, you know what? I'm going to the University of Florida. I want revenge. Called him back. I said, I'm coming. I talked myself into it. Do you know how hard it is to get here? I got in at 2:30 this morning. So over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, everything I was going to say is out the window. And I really, really thought about what I would say to myself if I was sitting here listening. So that's what this is going to be about. It's going to be 3 parts. It's my path. Well, you know, what did I do and how did I get there? But it's about the darkness that is covering medicine today, and then the light. What will you be facing? Your timing is better than the kids just ahead of you. So I think there's a clicker somewhere. Is that? Or it's going to go for me. Okay, so I'm from there. That's Waukegan. It's a little teeny town. It's a factory town, blue collar, just north of Chicago. I thought it was a big town girl. Not really, 70,000. But, you know, we were by the big city, thank you, of Chicago. And it was mostly a black, Hispanic, and other. Therefore, I am other. And I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. And we have a sister who's just a year and a half older. And my baby brother is 10 years younger than me. We are all doctors. Would you say we had a parental push? Is there anybody in the room who thinks their parents are pushing them to do medicine? You don't have to answer. I went to Jack Benny Junior High. Yes, there is a Jack Benny Junior High. Jack Benny is a comedian. He was in the 30s, 40s, 50s, played the violin. Yes, I played the violin. And that's the biggest, most exciting thing about Waukegan. I got out of school quick at 3 years because I didn't know about APs and there was nothing going on there. Most of the kids went to factories and worked. I didn't know it at the time, but it was an asbestos plant. Oops. The counselor there said, you're never going to be a doctor, because I knew since birth I was supposed to be, and kind of laughed at me and my family of aspiring young doctors. But I got in to Northwestern. Good school, great school. So I'd done high school in 3 years, got into Northwestern, I got blown out of the water. Blown out of the water. I did not know how to write a paper. I did not know how to study, underline, and do whatever it is all you guys did from those nice preppy high schools where you really had great backgrounds. And I got my first C. Wow. 2 weeks ago, the University of Pennsylvania, beautiful young girl, came out of a rigorous New Jersey high school, got into Penn. She killed herself because she had a 3.5 in her first quarter. And I know that's a big deal, because a lot of you guys, you're the smartest, the most committed, passionate group of people in the country. You and AMSA. I know how hard you're working, and I know how each grade may change what you think is your destiny. So I'm going to tell you about my failures so that you can aspire to change that destiny. So at Northwestern, I thought I should die. Their perfect little girl got her first C, and I dropped a D in a computer science class. Thank God. So I transferred. Woohoo! Gators! So that's what you do. If it's not working, you move on. You get out. You go where you can thrive. Don't keep banging your head against the wall. Do something different. So my first failure, Northwestern, turned into the University of Florida. I'm a Gator. Now I'm an old Gator. But when I was here, 75, 77 to 9, something like that, it was a much smaller campus. And we had massive rooms, 600 kids in organic chemistry. And they said, look to the left, look to the right. You're not going to be here. We're going to weed you out. My advisor, he said, why don't you marry a doctor? Dead straight. Said that to my sister as well. You're never going to make it. That was the message. We are trying to weed you out. And I did some great research here on cats in a lab. I was doing brain surgery on kitties. That was my all-night thing, along with working at Chan's, all the volunteering. And I just plowed through. I would tell you I lost my personality. I was A-directed. And I really didn't have a lot of fun at the University of Florida, except the football games, and we were pretty good back then. And then I did not get into this med school. Failure number 2, more or less. But my twin brother and I got into Miami. Great. It's warmer down there. It's 80 today. Just thought you should know. So we got into the University of Miami, and we had a great time. It's a great med school. I love it. Really thrived there. Got my personality back, really developed as a person that I really had lost in the hard work that was going on up here. But I was in obstetrics and gynecology and applied to dermatology. And there was a little problem here in Miami. They had 5 women residents, which was unthinkable in that era. They were all pregnant. I did not get into the University of Miami's dermatology program. Interesting, huh? That couldn't even be a question today. This is 1983. So I got into my second choice, Stanford. Now, if you're from here and you go there, it's really weird over there. When I landed at Stanford, I showed up in my white miniskirt, my hot pink pumps. I was ready. And there was no one else like that. They wore Peter Pan collars and beige khaki pants, and whoa, it was pretty stuffy, buttoned up. Not my usual Florida kind of crowd. Though you all look lovely today. I applaud you for putting on your best suits. Nice to see you. But Stanford was a real interesting experience. It's a very different thing, East Coast, West Coast. And I had a good time there. The diseases were wild. Epidermolysis bullosa. Sounds like something Hermione would say in Harry Potter. Crazy blistering diseases, really, whacked out stuff. A lot of pus. And this is our fearless leader. We were his last class. He was one of the great men who started dermatology residencies in the 1950s. This is Eugene Farber. And he said to us, find a passion. He was psoriasis. Or you will forever be confined to treating zits. Hey, who knew? So when I came into practice, this is 1987, I graduated, so 87, 88, the Clintons were in, and suddenly anybody could come to almost any doctor, and you had a problem, we'd fix it. This was the era of HMOs. You could not see me unless you had a piece of paper. And that paper had to say, severe acne. If it didn't, you couldn't come. Don't pass go. I'm sorry, you can't come. If you wanted to go out of pocket, it would be expensive. People weren't used to paying for a doctor in those days because you had insurance. You'd have to pay for your prescriptions because your insurance wouldn't cover it. And by the way, over the age of 21, acne doesn't happen anymore, which is a lie. But I know that. So the whole era of medicine changed big time right then and there. And so Katie and I were talking. I was single. She was married. She was always trying to fix me up. And thankfully, none of those guys worked out. I found a better one. But what was interesting is people would get to us, and they come in because they had a mole, roulotte melanoma, but they had acne. And they would pull out their Lancome beautiful little something and then oxy kill it. 10% burn your face medicine. Now, we know this is the most important real estate in your life. Everybody here got up, you brushed your hair, you made sure you looked good in the mirror, and you walked out. If this is not working, you will not go to a job interview. You will not go on a date. You may not show up to school. So this is important. So Katie and I noticed right as we got out of Stanford that this was a need, not a want. People need to have clear skin. They can't come to a dermatologist. It was known. So we set out to find a better way to help people. In my era, you guys don't even know this because we invented a new way to treat acne. It was spot kill. Reactive. Proactive means to take control. Prevention. What it means is brushing your teeth. You don't brush your tooth because they had a cavity and then we fill it and then you brush that one. You brush every day and you prevent breakouts. You prevent acne. So the same paradigm in dentistry applies to skin. So we had to think outside the box. We started a little company, isn't this cute? We had to talk to each other if our expenses exceeded $50. We were able to start Proactiv for almost no money, but we had years of passion and desire and drive because we knew we needed to make something that worked. So Clearasil is what they had, spot kill. We came up with 3 medicines, low strength, full face every day. In 1992, this was weird. And guess what, guys? It works. And now the pharmaceutical companies have copied us. They're using combination drugs, benzoyl peroxide, sulfur acid, full face every day, face, chest, back. Stay on it, stay clear. Why? Acne is a chronic disease. 7 years in a teen, 20 to 30 years in an adult. Even though the insurance company today says, if you're over 21, we will not pay for your acne meds. What? I'm 55. I had a zit yesterday. It still happens. So here we are. We have invented this stuff all by ourselves. No business sense at all. We borrowed suits. We didn't have anything as nice as you guys. So we had some friends help us out. And we walked into Neutrogena. We figured these were the guys because in our era, they were the dermatology brand. We said, take it. There you go. That is Proactiv. We had named it. Didn't know what the word meant either. That was a business word. And they said, well, we've been teaching people since 1960 to do this, and you want them to do this? If we're in Walgreens, it's never going to happen. They won't understand why that price difference. So they said, you guys got to be on TV. This is 1994, 3-4. We said, are you kidding? Doctors don't go on TV. Doctors don't advertise. That's icky. We were with Suzanne Summers with Thigh Masters. Maybe you remember that. Somebody was born at that point. So that was a big no. We were frightened. But they turned us down. It's another failure. Now, most people would have stopped. But Katie and I did not stop because this was a need, not a want. We knew people weren't leaving their houses and they had no access to great skin. So we kept going, and we did our research on infomercials, and it was a perfect storm. The right timing. TV commercials in our era went from 1 minute to 30 minutes. A 30-minute at home, in the privacy of your own home, for a consultation. Think about it. Did you ever buy a condom? Anybody? Don't raise your hand. It's embarrassing. Can you imagine standing there in the grocery store and you're looking at that aisle of acne stuff and everybody's going by, they know what you're buying. Same thing, it's a stigma, it's ugly, it's a 4-letter word. So he had 30 minutes to tell people what is the condition, how do you treat the condition, before and after testimonials. Well, the rest is history. But it was the right channel, it was the right timing, it was the right product because it worked. That's the New York Times picture. So this launched in '95, so it's old now. You guys think this is normal. This was weird the way we treated acne almost 20 years ago. We are still the #1 brand in acne worldwide. The problem is worldwide. Insurance companies still don't want to pay for acne, and as of today, they are less likely to cover acne meds. So, Proactiv Solution. And you know these players. Disclaimer, none of my slides are for public use or commercial. We're not paying for them today. But we've had them all, and I will assure you, every one of these people have acne. I will assure you, the reason they chose to be part of Proactiv is for a higher purpose. We met Adam Levine about a month ago. He had terrible acne as a teenager, cystic, Accutane. Still has acne. So his handlers apply it to his chest and back. If anybody wants to volunteer, I'll let them know. So basically, they get it. They get the point of self-esteem and that this is so important for kids to really blossom and do better in their lives. Now I know this mugshot has been on TV everywhere. Good old Justin, yeah. He's no longer a Proactiv spokesperson. He's been gone since March, a year ago. And the TMZ people called and said, you're trying to get us to say horrible things about him. The truth is, he's a teenager, acne is chronic, stress will make it worse. Kid's pretty stressed out. I guess the pot isn't helping him, but nevertheless, he really does have acne, and when we had him as a puppy, he was a great spokesperson. Now, I am a dermatologist, so I don't sit on the beach. No way. Even as a Florida Gator, man, tanning is bad, okay? I'll make my dermatology pitch there. So now what? Katie and I are practicing physicians, and we've created Proactiv. We're involved with it to this day, but that's not enough. We went beyond acne. We wanted to change everything. If we figured out that you can prevent a skin condition rather than just wait for it to happen and treat your psoriasis, we could really help more people. So we looked into brown spots for reverse. We looked into aging. We looked into a different kind of acne, rosacea. We looked into eczema, which if I went around this room, I could find a skin condition on all of you from your head to your toes. So we got busy. But our acne company, Guthrie Ranker, was not having it. We were acne doctors. That was it. We didn't think so. We had a lot more to do. So we created our next batch of products literally in Katie's kitchen. And there's Katie with a pointer up her nose there. Sorry about that, Katie. But the most amazing thing happened. If we had done the unthinkable and did an infomercial, which was risky, guys, really risky. And in fact, I lost my job. I forgot to tell you about that failure. I was in a small group. I didn't tell my associate when the contract signed. I didn't tell him until the first commercial ran. He found out about it. I was fired. I was pregnant. I had a baby at home. The overhead in San Francisco was very high. We're just talking about the cost of living. And I was scared. And I had to go and start my own practice and keep working with preterm labor to the minute the kid came out. And then they did payroll like 10 minutes after he appeared. So that's what you do. You keep moving forward. So Katie and I started our next project, and we were picked up almost immediately by Estee Lauder. This is about 2001. This is when doctor brands were really big. You're trying to think of who they are in those days. Most of them are gone now. And so they bought us for nothing. And this one cost more to create. And we thought, okay, lightning strikes twice, we're good. However, their vision, our vision, was not the reality. Their idea of marketing was making Katie and I go to every Nordstrom store in a crowd like this, give a lecture, and beg you to buy product. Not very effective. Terrible. So it was also a changing time in these stores, department stores like Macy's, Nordstrom's. They saw a real fall off in the quantity of people shopping. You would come only with the big sale. So we quickly saw that this wasn't going to happen, that this was going to fail. So we actually pulled out. We pulled out in 2007. We did something very courageous. We took the money we had made from Proactiv, and we wanted to change more lives. We invested, what's the word? The whole enchilada on our next company, Rodan and Fields. Yes, Proactiv continues, fantastic, but we wanted to change skin and change lives. So we created the products you saw on the first slide, but this time we have our doctor brand, because I use medicine. Yes, I use drugs, over-the-counter drugs. The business model, think Avon, Mary Kay, that kind of ewy, icky pyramid stuff. We're going to redefine it. We redefine infomercials. It is Proactiv. It's still on TV 20 years later that made it okay to have an infomercial. And I bet almost everybody in here has bought something. So we were out to change that pyramid image and get healthcare into people's homes. And we were going to do it for the very first time. I wish this was my cell phone, with technology. This is 2007. 2008, we launched the company, and we failed. Again, we failed. The computer platform that we just spent $1 million on failed. By the way, I'm still working. I still teach at Stanford. I teach at UC. I have my kids, and we are working with Proactiv, and this is Newco is coming, or new company is working. But we persevered, and we created a line, Rodan and Fields, which now there are over 50,000 micro entrepreneurs across the country. 50,000 people who sell it, not Nordstrom's. People who want to make money just to pay, a vacation, or be part of a community, or people who really need a job. They're in a bad relationship, and this is it. They've got to get out from under. So we have created many millionaires. We have people who are there for the party, and it is a great party. But they are changing skin, so they are having the ability to improve lives. And there's nothing greater, guys, when you touch a life. Yeah, we wrote a book. We wrote 2 books. One was Unblemished, then this one, which is a national bestseller. And we're in magazines. I just read, I have a quote in Self magazine that just went on today. They just cleared it. So that's all fun and glamorous, but this is what I do. If you can see the pictures, you can see that wrinkles really can improve with home systems. Brown spots really can improve. You don't need to go to a dermatologist. Eczema, which is disfiguring, can be improved with the right over-the-counter medicated systems. And you can build a cult following of great people. That is our effigy. The conference in Nashville 2 or 3 weeks ago had 6,000 people. And it's so amazing to see like-minded people coming together for a greater purpose, a higher purpose to help people's lives. We are no longer allowed to walk on the floor because it's kind of like a rock star thing, a little dangerous. So they dance around with our poster there, kind of fun. All right, let's go backwards. So that was my path. All right, so now you know. But my path is not important. Your path is very important. This is how medicine was. A visit to the doctor. This is a book from the 50s. In my era, it was patriarchal. You come in, I have the knowledge. You don't know what you got. I know what you have. I have the medicine. I will save you. That is, as of 2008, obsolete. You have an iPhone. You have just Googled the 10 symptoms for a red rash. You may have come in with your diagnosis and a printout and a treatment plan. And I'm saying, okay, interesting. So things have changed, and it's a nuclear explosion. It's big. It's huge what's happening in medicine. For the old gators, we're in trouble. For the middle gators, they're in trouble. For you guys, I see a different story. We're the dinosaurs. The dinosaur is the sole practitioner. I have my shingle. I do my thing. I can do all this because I have my own office. I am the king in my office. I have a beautiful staff. We work together. We don't work, we play. All day long is fun. And when we come out, we are happy. And our patients are happy. We get flowers and chocolates pretty much every day. It's great. They know I like chocolate. Don't tell anybody else. So basically, that era of the solo practitioner died on January 2014. And it is because of the Affordable Care Act. Overnight, Doctors are losing jobs. Overnight, things have changed dramatically on the landscape. And as a result, this is what I need you guys to know. In the darkness, we are villainized. There's a Sunshine Act. If somebody gave me this cup from University of Florida, I better give it back, because it's going to be published in the newspaper. They're going to post it online, that I received a bagel, a cup of water, a lunch. Yeah, in the old days, there was abuses. People had trips to nice places. I wish I was one of those, but I didn't. Doctors abusing Medicare face fines. New York Times article. Yes, there are bad doctors. There are people who do abuse the system. I don't think they're in this room today. I don't think you're here. But we are being targeted now. All doctors are bad. The New York Times article says we bill higher than they reimburse. Everybody bills higher than they reimburse, because your United plan is different from your Blue Shield, different from your Medicare Premium Plus. So you have to pick a number. You can't have 25 numbers. So it was so misleading. But will physicians be dropped from managed care? The answer is yes. We're being dropped by the thousands, particularly the single people like me. Towers like Kaiser's or hospital foundations, big groups, are so far so good. My sister, let's talk about family. My sister's a cardiologist. There's another article coming, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but she was absorbed by the foundation because they couldn't make overhead. And when they got absorbed in the foundation, for some clause, the hospital can bill more than a solo practitioner. In that event, overnight, they lost their United Healthcare plan, 25% of the practice on a dime. People can't come in. Now, if you're a cardiologist, you're seeing old people. When you lose 25% of your practice, and you got to fire your team, guys. It's that bad. Right now, they have things that says, report your doctor. Is your doctor drinking, taking drugs? Anonymously report them. In the hospitals today, nurses are ratting on doctors. Everywhere you go, we're like the bad guys. In this New York Times article, it was 2 weeks ago, patients' costs skyrocket, specialist income soar. No, it's not. Our incomes are flat. We've been fighting to stay flat for the last 10 years. The Sustainable Growth Rate, SGR, just Thursday, finally allows us, instead of every year at December 31st, we're about to be cut 24%. Can you imagine? Every year, you may lose a quarter of your income. And so we hang on. And they take it down, and they take it down. But the overhead goes high. So now, as of Thursday, they guaranteed we have a floor for 5 years. That's nice. That's a relief. I can't even tell you. But our overhead has gone up. I'm required to have electronic billing. Whoa, it's $50,000 just to plug that in. Not going to make that on someone's copay. The obstacles. Your obstacles are medical school debt. Kids are coming out. My Stanford residents, $300,000 in debt. But I just told you, our incomes are slashed. Dwindling reimbursement, and getting worse as we're being fired without cause from our insurance plans if you signed up for plans. I went into medicine because I want to be the master of my ship. I want to come and go as I please. I want to treat people that I like. I want to be in a place that I enjoy healing. That is changing. I am an advocate for the woman laying on the floor on the tarmac. We had a hug, a little cry. I held her hand. We bonded. I know who to call. I can plug her in. I can push her through. I can make sure she's covered. I've got her back. But not in the new medicine right now. My brother's an ER doc. He makes less than my hairdresser who does my gorgeous hair color. That's pathetic. If he had a patient just recently who, hysterical Hispanic down in Miami, lady screaming, her eyes, I'm going blind. The triage nurse says, get her out of here. My brother, who's got ADD, by the way, and a learning difference, said, I don't think so. Something's big here, I can tell. The guy's a genius. He just knows who's sick. And he said, I'm getting the CAT scan. And they go, no, you can't. Big fight. He was reported to the administration. She had retro bleeds, both eyes. She was about to go blind. He saved her. And he was written up for helping someone. So this is medicine, guys, right now, today. There's no job security. Doctors are being fired. Your hours are longer than ever. Now with these meaningful use, we have to type in for hours after all kinds of garbage about the patient. So you're working longer hours, less pay. By the way, the biggest thing is no legal reform. It's still the doctor who's on the forefront. That patient had lost her vision, he would be sued, not the nurse who said, don't do the test. Scary, guys. Okay, that was really depressing. Who wants to be happy? I like being happy. I don't go negative, but I just wanted to give a reality check. This is Eagle Nebulae. It's the birth of a star. My son's in astrophysics. He let me know. Okay. Change equals opportunity. I have a Tesla. There is no reason for you ever to get into an ICE, internal combustion engine, ever again. This thing is a sports car. It doesn't have a motor, a radiator, a belt, an oil change, nothing. It's gorgeous. We got a trunk in the front. It's a front and the trunk. It's an SUV because it folds down flat. It goes faster than a Ferrari, and I like to drive it fast. It's the future because that's where it's going to be. These other cars are obsolete, guys. And just as doctors are being obsoleted in one sense, we will come again. This is Star Trek. You're too young to remember. That's Spock and his dad. And he's doing an operation. Well, here we are today with robotic surgery. You can be here in Gainesville working anywhere across the country or in a rural area. Surgeons are being obsoleted. Instead of cutting your body open, we're doing more non-invasive procedures. So for my team, somebody my age, 55, who's been doing gallbladders and everything else forever, hysterectomies, it's being done micro-invasive now. Us old gators have to learn new tricks. It's clear glass. The Google Glass is being used now in medicine. Pattern recognition. If you're thinking pathology, radiology, a computer will be able to diagnose all the patterns much better than your brain can. So things are changing fast. How about genomics? How about targeted vaccines for your cancer, nanotechnology, biomedical engineering, which was my major at Northwestern. You will be able to stand up with your exoskeleton. It will walk for you. It's changing now, and it's changing fast, and it's completely exciting. Yes, there's an app for that. As we speak, I have my Stanford residents creating dermatology apps, and the apps are coming, and they're sleeping with you, and they're monitoring so much big data. They're going to know everything about us. And there's real potential for amazing healthcare breakthroughs. That's what you're going to be part of. You're going to be the new wave, the new era. There will be amazing things to be part of in medicine today and coming through for the future. And who's that? That's MD Live. There won't be a doctor in a box like me. There will be online for non-emergencies. Today, type in, and we'll help you by Skype online to answer your questions. No appointment necessary. But you still need doctors. And then there's nurses and nurse practitioners and then medical assistants. There is still a tower of people. And there is room for medicine and for doctors in this vocabulary. But I'm going to give you another thing I tell my residents at Stanford. There's knowledge and there's wisdom. Anybody can Google up now their skin condition and diagnose it. Anybody. Anybody can look up the drugs required. That's what we had in the old days, but now we all do it. But we have to teach, what I teach my residents is wisdom. The nuance of how to get success, the nuance of how to make people feel better. I have high touch in my practice. I know you. I know your family, your kids, your problems. I know your skin. I know everything about you. The people in here who are interviewing you to be a doctor want high touch. Even though it's quality and cost care cutting, and they want you to see far more patients per minute than we ever had to before, they want you to be caring. They want you to be an advocate. They want you to be responsible. They want you to be friendly. You have to maintain that side of your personality. When you're in an interview, that's what they're looking for. They don't want a robot. You have to have those basics so that you can get the wisdom and be able to pay that forward to your patients. So the failure is only truly failure if you allow it to stop you. I think that's important because as you saw, I failed a lot. I even thought about killing myself at Northwestern. I failed at that too, because I'm here. And at 55, I can tell you, for those of you who may not get into med school, there's another path. There's another way to go that's very rewarding. For those of you that do, there are many things that you're going to do that's going to change your life in ways you have never expected. And it's going to be great. Never, ever give up. And most importantly, if you want to think like me, think like an entrepreneur, see opportunity everywhere. Why are we still sitting in rows like this? We've been doing this, the Greeks, way back. This will be obsoleted. So what can we do in everything we see, touch, feel, in the medical world, in your house today that can be improved? Ask why. Every day, ask why. And you will see there's opportunity everywhere. And finally, it was my party. We had to do a Star Trek party. I want you all to live long and prosper. All right, so I know I have 2 more seconds to take questions because you have to run to another something. So that's the real one. And just some books on saving your soul. But anyway, so questions. How do you want to do this, Zachary? Okay, somebody got a question. Quali. No one has a question? Class dismissed? Or do you want to do a Twitter question?
I have a question.
Sure.
What inspired you to follow the path towards dermatology as compared to other specialties?
My mother. Basically, I was in obstetrics and gynecology, which I thought was a real blast, really enjoyed it. And my mother told me, one day I'll be 43 years old, my son will be 3, and I will be up at 3 a.m., he'll have a high fever, and I probably would not want to go in and deliver a baby. She was right. That day came, but I was already in dermatology. So it's a wonderful specialty, obstetrics also. But I actually took me a while to love it, so it just worked out. Listen to your parents. They do know what they're talking about. They're getting up for your groups in a minute here. Anybody else? Interesting. All right.
Thank you.